The way in which we are to reason with the unbeliever in the following ways. Number one, we want to demonstrate ignorance in the unbeliever, okay? Number two, we want to highlight the fact that, like the scripture says, the unbeliever knows God. And then thirdly, Dr. Bahnsen suggests that we demand total philosophical renovation, an entire worldview shift and change as we call the unbeliever to repentance. And of course, this is going to be the work of...
For most people, their finances aren't one big problem. It's 100 small ones. A retirement account from a job 5 years ago. A budget that lives in your head, but never on paper. Life insurance that you meant to look into. A will half finished or not even started. And the longer you leave those loose ends untied, the harder it becomes to move forward with peace of mind. At Dominion Wealth, we walk with you step by step to help you tie it all together. We meet you where you are. We listen. We get your financial picture out of your head and into practice. Then we build a strategy to meet your needs now, prepare for your future, and bless the next generation. We don't pressure you. We give biblical, honest guidance. Let the strategy follow your values and help find the right solutions. If your financial path feels uncertain, let's get together one-on-one and get you on the right track. Book a free consultation today. We are here to help you get your finances in order so you can feel confident about the future. From baptism to burial, Dominion's got you covered. You can find us at reform.money.
Non-rockabotus must stop. I don't want to rock the boat. I want to sink it.
Are you going to bark all day, little doggy, or are you going to bite?
Brett, delusional is okay in your worldview. I'm an animal. You don't chastise chickens for being delusional. You don't chastise pigs for being delusional. So you calling me delusional using your worldview is perfectly okay. It doesn't really hurt. She hung up on me.
What?
Desperate times call for faithful men and not for careful men. The careful men come later and write the biographies of the faithful men, lauding them for their courage.
Go into all the world and make disciples. Not go into the world and make buddies. Not to make brosives.
Right.
Don't go into the world and make homies.
Right.
Disciples.
I got a bit of a jiggle neck. That's a joke, Pastor.
When we have the real message of truth, we cannot let somebody say they're speaking truth when they're not.
Take an amazing journey to a place that will blow your mind and move your heart so you will never be the same again.
Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Never be wise in your own sight. Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink, for by so doing you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Welcome to Apologia Radio, everyone. That is from Romans chapter 12, verses 14 through 21. Gonna have a heavy show today. Certainly not one I was wanting to have. I was actually going to be talking about the subway murder situation in Charlotte, and took a back seat to the loss of Charlie Kirk yesterday. And really grateful to have a couple of my good friends on with me today. I wish it was under better circumstances, but I'm grateful to have them none the least. But I'll go ahead and introduce Jon Root to my left. What's going on, brother?
Good to see you. Obviously, under these circumstances, not how we want to see each other, but Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And then on Zoom, I got Captain Brad Geery, now retired Captain Brad Geery.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man, heavy day for us all for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's just, first I want to, of course, thank our sponsor, Dominion Wealth. You saw them at the beginning there, the ad we played, and we're so grateful for Josiah. And you can check them out at reform.money. You can get a free complimentary consultation with them. I highly recommend it. But I'm just going to get right into it. There's no reason to be too cute and be silly or anything like that, because it's a heavy, serious topic. And so, I mean, obviously, everyone knows, I don't need to go into too much detail. Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday in Utah while speaking at a college. And I'll just say, if you haven't seen the close-up of it, I don't recommend it. It's not something I'll probably never get out of my head. And we're not going to play any of that stuff today. We're going to honor Charlie. I'm not doing anything like that today. But yeah, if you haven't, I say, I seriously don't do it. I saw somebody shared it, and they said, somebody said I shouldn't watch this, but I went ahead and watched it. I wish I hadn't. And so, like an idiot, I went and watched it and said the same thing. And so, it's hard to see for sure. But let's, I'll turn to John first. So I'll let you, tell everyone how you knew Charlie, and John knew him well and worked for him. And we'll just start there. And I got some clips I want to play to honor him as well, but.
Yeah, first and foremost, I owe a lot to Charlie, and I think millions of Americans owe a lot to Charlie, and even like millions of Christians. I worked for Turning Point USA for 2.5 years. I was a contributor there, and after I got canceled, that's where I landed. And Charlie gave me an amazing opportunity to speak about, simple way to put it, just more of the conservative side of sports, the side of sports you're not getting from ESPN. I covered when Roe v. Wade was overturned. I was doing work there. Covered the Leah Thomas story, and all that was thanks to Charlie. I wouldn't be able to be a full-time content creator without Charlie. And I think should definitely start with, thoughts and prayers for Erica and the kids. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I know, just going back to that video, I still have some friends that work at Turning Point, found out about the shooting before a lot of the stuff dropped on social media. And, I think just talking to Jeff a second ago, my first thought is Charlie's okay. This is hopefully just another, we dodged a bullet literally with Trump. Yeah. Hopefully same thing happened with Charlie.
I had the same thought, yeah.
And because you just see Charlie as a titan. Like he's out in the open, completely unafraid, happy to have civil discourse, and he's got a great security team around him, and he's just been unafraid. There's no way we're losing Charlie. And then I know I said on Jason Whitlock's show this morning, at first, I said, I wish I never saw that video, but I think there's an aspect of me that I like seeing that video. Hopefully, will always be ingrained in my mind and everybody's mind to know that like there's evil out there. There are people that legitimately, their father is Satan, and they hate us. Yeah. But they hated Christ first, and I think more than anything, so I kind of wrap this up because it's not about like my relationship with Charlie. It's about what his family's going through, what he did, his life, his legacy. He is known for as a bold Christ follower.
Yeah.
People watch Fox News. Everybody coming on is saying that.
Yeah.
And then Charlie said a few months ago, how do you want to be remembered? For being bold for my faith. That's what he said. And I think that's the best testimony and the best way you could ever be remembered.
Was that the video you shared?
I ended up sharing that.
I think that was, let me pull that up here while I'm doing that. I have a bunch of stuff here I was going to try to play. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, it's funny. Not funny, but my wife and I were talking about it, and my 10-year-old was like, who are you talking about? Because she, and my wife's like, well, Charlie Kirk, he was killed. And my 10-year-old's like, oh, I watch this stuff all the time. And I had no idea my 10-year-old's watching his debates and stuff. And I was like, it's so cool. And so, but then I was like, don't watch anything if you see those videos come up.
I mean, there's so much awful stuff online, but also too, you really got to see over the last 24 hours the impact that Charlie Kirk had.
Yeah.
From people from every side of the aisle, every single religion, most Americans that have somewhat of an understanding of politics, politicians, political talking heads, they knew about Charlie.
Yeah.
And he made an impact on people, and it's amazing to hear the stories, and I think just rejoicing in heaven that it's a race well run, and the impact he made hopefully continues to make an impact for years to come.
By the way, you probably even talked to. You saw Justin Jefferson immediately. Do you see that?
I heard about the Justin Jefferson thing, and then for people that aren't familiar, he's a wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. And then there was reports that Josh Allen donated. I haven't heard any confirmation that stuff is true.
Gotcha.
That's a big reason. Like for anybody that follows me, like I cover sports. I haven't seen any confirmation that Justin Jefferson said he's going to pay for like schooling or funeral stuff, and I haven't heard anything. Confirmation about Josh Allen. It would be a great story, though.
I even heard Metallica might have something, or Hetfield, James Hetfield. But anyways, that's what's been a challenge the last 2 days, right? There's just stuff everywhere, and you're like even yesterday when I was watching, like praying and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not believing anything until I got like credible confirmation on stuff, you know. And like obviously I have friends that work at TP, you do as well, and so when I had confirmation from them that he passed, and that, like,
and then also too, just like I got to bring up, you mentioned the video, and there's an aspect of X where we are being subjected to really awful stuff, like what happened in North Carolina, what just happened to Charlie, and at the same time, there's people trying to grow a following and actually make money off those videos, which is sickening.
Yeah, it really is.
You're not just sharing information; you're trying to do this for clicks and clout, and I hope these people repent of the way they've shared this stuff irreverently. That's not just for information's sake. You know, this is for your own good, and that stuff should frustrate many people, especially his family that hopefully has been able to avoid any of that disgusting.
I heard that his wife and kids saw it happen. I don't know if they were there or they're watching on TV, or
I don't have confirmation that they were there. I mean, I did hear that potentially they traveled with him, but I wouldn't be able to give.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. Anyways, Gabe, if you want to pull this video up real quick, this is the one that John posted. That I think yesterday he posted this, right?
Yeah.
That he was talking about. Do you know when this was?
I just said it was a couple months ago.
So it wasn't that long ago. Okay, we'll play this real quick. Oh, I don't have any audio. Oh, that's my fault. Sorry. There, but sure you know.
I die, everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
I die, everything just goes away.
Yeah, I mean, that's powerful. So here, I'm gonna real quick, and I'll have you chime in, Brad, in a second. So this other video I want to play, from my understanding, this was right before he was shot, and this is basically his last words. And it's going to go right in line with, and John hasn't seen this, so it's powerful. If I can get the audio. Oh, sorry. Try this again. Too many different working parts here.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God over all. 1 Corinthians 5.
I mean, how crazy is that? It's almost prophetic, right? The video we did a couple months ago, and then that to happen, and so grateful for that. I mean, this is going to go, obviously, the gospel will go forth around the world because of this, and so we're grateful for that. And Brad, I'll just bring you in real quick and hear your thoughts on all this, and just go from there.
Yeah, man. It's just been such a heavy day. My whole family has been talking about how it feels very much like we lost when we lost so many of our teammates over the years downrange. It feels even more than that, like a family member.
Yeah.
We've been grieving, and it just this one really cut to the soul in a lot of ways. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe what an impact this man had on so many people. Using his words, debating. I think he was one of the most brilliant minds of this generation. An underdog, a college dropout, yet a masterful theologian, debater, political scientist, who challenged people towards civil discourse. And this has rocked us, not just because it was an evil act, not just because it was a murder, but I think this was an attack on our fundamental values as Americans. Man, someone said recently, he reaped what he sowed. And I threw up in my mouth when I read that, because it's like, no, man, he he sowed words. And if we stand on anything as Americans, words should never be responded to with violence. We should all, on the left and the right, be able to agree that this was horrendous. This was an attack on our republic. This was an attack on the principles and the Constitution of the United States of America. It was horrible. We've been in tears all day.
Yeah.
I can't stop watching all of his clips, his videos, and it breaks my heart that we'll never hear another sentence from that man's mouth. But to your point, this enemy tried to silence him, but Charlie's voice has been amplified. They already lost. But yeah, we're just heartbroken. It's been a really hard day.
Great points there. And we'll get into the last segment. I want to get in how do we respond and talk about some of the crazy things people are saying. I'm curious, Brad, just as as a former operator, as someone trying to transition out of an operating role into civilian life, like I gotta imagine, and I texted some of our guys, immediately like, hey, I'm praying for you guys. I can't imagine what you're thinking right now. Like how do you deal with that? And let me back up and say this too. One, there's an interview coming very soon that I did with Brad and his wife Amy. Very excited about that. We talked a little bit about this, but Brad's seen probably more death than anyone I know. And like, how does this compare with some of the stuff you've seen over the years? And then two, like, how do you not become jaded to stuff like that?
Yeah.
And I know those are heavy questions. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a good question. I think it's a relevant question. I had just gotten out of a meeting actually where we were talking about the need for civil discourse in the workplace environment and the need to confront our own biases. And so I stepped out of that to see my wife and her sister saying, "Have you heard?" And like you, immediately I looked for the videos, and we were obviously hoping and praying, but. For those that have been downrange, and I got a bunch of team guy threads, everyone who saw that shot said, that's... Yeah. We've seen a body respond to a shot like that, and it doesn't often end well. And so, to answer the second part of your question, man, if we lose our revulsion for watching something like that, if we're seeing something like that, then I think we're losing part of our humanity. And so it should never look benign. It should never not bother us. So yeah, but I can't help it. I have to watch that stuff. I have to see, many of us, we have to see that evil, and we have to know what we're confronting, and the after effects of such evil. So I kind of feel a duty to watch those things and then power through the emotional response, process it, and then try to use that for good. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. I'm shooting hip, but it's hard. It's hard, man. You never like to see. It's unnatural, right? It's unnatural. God created us for good in the garden, and so anytime we're confronted with death, it is evidence of the fall of man. It is evidence of our bent nature now, and we should always feel revulsion to that. And I think hope for what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, and you today's 9/11, right? We can't even. I hadn't even thought about that. But dealing with this stuff, and here you had been a team guy for what, like a year when 9/11 hit?
Not even. I was just graduating the program. We were in our final training block.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, like as like a team guy, like you see something like this, like I'm sure your first thought is put me in, coach. Like let's do this. So there's a lot of guys that are probably thinking that, and we'll get to that in the end, how we as civilians should not be thinking that way. But like, how are you handling the transition? Just curious, how are you handling the transition now where you're like, I can't go in now, I'm done. Like there's no more going in for me. Like how do you handle that thought process?
Yeah, I don't think you don't handle it. I think it's just a new fight, right? It's there's gas in the tank, and the physical fight may be behind us or behind me in my season of life, certainly as a military service member, but dude, watching something like that happen yesterday, it just emboldens me to fight in different ways. And I hope that's what people take from this, not fear, not trepidation, but it just solidifies the need to be bold in speaking truth, truth seasoned with grace.
Yeah.
And so the warfighter spirit should be kindled in many people. And I hope it is through this sacrifice and through the suffering that Charlie's family is certainly going through. This isn't a time to shrink away. This isn't a time to dig in and retreat. No, this is just a new type of warfare. And so just like we fought our fight with the Navy, it's the same principles of physical warfare. You just apply it to spiritual warfare, and that's the best we can do. But yeah, man, this has done nothing but fuel my fire for sure.
I appreciate that, the warfighter spirit. That's just a great way to think about it. Well, I'm going to end this segment here. Did you guys happen to see Trump's speech this morning on Charlie?
Yeah.
I'm going to play that right now because I thought this is so cool, and I was really glad to see this here. Gabe, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Make sure my volume's up here. Okay, this was early this morning. Trump gave the speech.
Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
What an awesome gesture by the president. Oh, that's my segment timer there. So it's a good place to end there. So we'll, Gabe, if you want to play the Iron Layer ad, and then we'll come right back and we'll switch the conversation here.
This episode's brought to you by Ion Layer at ionlayer.com. Go and check out the health benefits, the wellness benefits, and longevity benefits of NAD treatments. NAD is nicknamed the fountain of youth for a reason. You have an abundance of this in your system when you're young. As you get older, it drops off, and now we've found a way to get NAD into our systems. They do it through IV treatments, but they're very expensive, and it's also extremely painful and difficult. However, Ion Layer found a way to get a high dose of NAD into your system through a medical patch you wear on your arm. You wear it for about 14 hours. You get a high dose of NAD treatment into your system and no pain at all. And it is a fraction of the cost of what you would pay for an IV treatment. In the coupon code, type in Apologia in all caps. They're going to hook you up with a great discount for an already amazingly cost-effective product. And they bless Apologia Studios and help us to stay on the air and do all these programs with you. Don't forget also, Ion Layer has added a glutathione patch as well. Glutathione, the master antioxidant. Go check out the health benefits of glutathione. I'm doing this stuff anyways. It's blessed my life in tremendous ways. And so if you want to focus on your health, wellness, and longevity, nothing better in my mind than ionlayer.com for your NAD and glutathione treatments. ionlayer.com. Don't forget to put Apologia in all caps in the coupon code.
Welcome back, everybody, to Apologia Radio. So I wanted to spend this next segment. This is originally why I brought Brad on, to kind of just talk about the security aspect of it. And I want to make it very clear, like, there's obviously a lot of work that's got to be put into figuring out how something like this happens. Who, if anyone's to blame, who is, and I'm not saying anyone is, but it's always a good conversation to look at the security, and that's the reason why I brought Brad on. And then I'm thankful that John could come on, because you've been to these events with Charlie. You probably know some of those security guys that were there, and I'm sure they're, crushed right now. Like, so we should definitely be praying for those guys. So like, because I did hear, and again, there's no confirmation, but I heard that they weren't, nobody was checking bags. There's no metal detectors, you know, and something like that. It's a wide open campus, right? So like, how do you even do that, you know? Just curious. I wanted to hear your thoughts on what that security typically looks like, and just go from there.
And then too, I know Brad, you watching the videos, I'm going to be very interested to hear your take on stuff. And I know these guys; these are great dudes. I'm not going to be able to give you a full breakdown of, especially since I haven't been there in a few years. I'm sure they bolstered the security team, but if you watch any of those videos, you got his main security guy, Charlie's main security guy, Dan, is usually in all those videos you see of Charlie. Just that chiseled jaw, usually got sunglasses on, ex-military guy. There's somebody that's at the front of the line. There's someone that's pretty close to where the crowd is, coming up to where people ask Charlie questions. There's multiple people going around the crowd. I mean, these guys are good ex-military and strong Christian men too. So I wouldn't be able to give you a breakdown of how they sweep the area, how any of that stuff works. But Charlie's got some of the best security personnel. And when I and many people were watching the news, there's all these armchair quarterbacks. And it's just like, this guy's not the president.
Right.
This guy doesn't have Secret Service with him and, you know, snipers at every building and able to check. It's just, that's not the way it works. In general, I think those guys did the best they possibly could, and especially like Brad. I don't know. You again. You talk about seeing that video, and for me, again, like, we're not supposed to see those things, but I mean, they go right into action.
Yeah.
I mean, you just again, it's like, I don't want to get emotional like I've been talking, but like they're carrying this limp body, and they're doing everything they can to protect him before that and after that. So. Definitely interested to hear Brad's thoughts.
Yeah, and I think because you're right, because, you know, my first thought was, how does something like this happen? You know, and like, I'm thinking back to when they tried to shoot Trump, you know, and he's got everybody at his disposal, right?
Yeah, so Trump, he's politicians. Anyways. It's like you got hundreds of people there.
Yeah, and that still happens, you know, and like, he doesn't have that. He's just got his security team. So I you know, if anything, there's probably, I would say there's maybe more fault, if there's fault, you know, maybe on like the school or whoever was there, law enforcement, you know, and I would say more than Charlie's crew for sure, but because they're only limited, they're not carrying sniper rifles.
And as far as I know, there's no barricades with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's spoken at GCU, and it's at like an open quad, just like at Utah Valley and everything. It's just I mean, I'm sure that obviously makes the job incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So here, let me just play this one video, and then I want to I'll bring Brad in here. So let's see, where was that? I got too many. This is okay. So Gabe, I'm gonna pull this video up. This is the one that I saw, because I saw a video. There was somebody on a roof, you know, and there was like 20 seconds long. They're like, "Who's this guy on the roof?" You know, like, but there's no perspective when you see that, like how close it is, like where they at, you know. And then there's this one that's basically like from behind where Charlie was at, and you can see the guy that's going to play. And then you're like, oh, like, how do you not see that guy? Like, you know. So here, this is. I'll play this real quick. It's 18 seconds. So that was obviously after the shooting. Someone took that video. Okay, so Brad, I'm assuming you've pulled security on some high-profile clients, maybe multiple times. I'm assuming.
Yeah, one or two of these.
What? Who's the most high profile person you've had to pull security on that you can tell us?
It was a 4-star general who was coming into a country, and so we had to provide security, working with some embassy folks as he was moving around the city, which was an insecure environment.
Gotcha. And from what I understand, that's like probably your least favorite thing to do, right? Doing security is not fun. It's a super sketchy, kind of dangerous situation.
Well, it's tough because you're on the defensive from the start, and your posture is very different when you're on defense versus offense. And so it's a place that, I mean, frankly, no team guys like to put themselves on defense.
Yeah.
We would much rather be on the offense, maneuvering against a known enemy, versus trying to think through all the avenues of approach that an enemy could come at you from, and having to guard against really an infinite amount of opportunity that enemy might have, and you're very much limited by what that VIP needs and wants, what's their mission, and that's going to dictate their posture, which presents vulnerabilities. And in a perfect world, someone who's supposed to be defending that person, you're like, yeah, there's just too many vulnerabilities. We need to cut these down. But if that contradicts with the entire point why they're there, well, then it's really what you're talking about is a balance between risk and effectiveness. And if you're going to be effective for the mission you've set out to do, you're going to end up having to accept a certain amount of risk. And in a defensive posture, that risk could be very large, very infinite.
Yeah. Did you ever have any situations that did get sketchy and went south a little bit, or?
No, there's some pucker factory moments always where you, like, I don't like the position we're in. We just crossed into some significant low ground. Low ground is never preferable. When there's a lot of unsecured high ground around you, it puts you in a very precarious spot where if someone was postured to exploit that in that very moment, it's almost impossible to fight your way out. And certainly without casualties. And you look at, like I think you said a minute ago, these college campuses, they're all designed with these quads where if you set up shop in that quad where you're going to be most effective, where you're going to draw the crowd. And I know Charlie really valued the human connection. And I saw a couple of he was talking about getting excited to get back out to the campus, to get into the civil debate, to have that face-to-face interaction. He was throwing hats, minutes before he was assassinated. So to be effective, to capitalize on that human connection, to really talk with people, you're going to have to accept that risk. And that fishbowl environment that most colleges provide is unfortunately tactically the worst position you could put yourself in if you have someone like this who's willing to exploit it.
Yeah. So to put yourself in the shoes of security at this event, we kind of know the layout. You've looked at it. You've seen the videos. Like what's the first thing you're thinking? What's the first thing you're looking at in a situation like that?
Yeah, before I even say anything, I just want to, it's tough to speculate, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Without knowing who cleared what, without knowing whose responsibilities were what, we should all resist armchair quarterbacking these
absolutely.
things. Like I said, you in a situation like that, you're thinking through every detail, every vulnerability, and there's an infinite amount of vulnerabilities there, and you have finite resources, you have finite amounts of eyes who are scanning the crowd, who are looking for the risks and the vulnerabilities. And really, no matter what you do, the enemy gets a vote. And for all the infinite things you need to cover, he needs to get lucky once. And that's what happened here. That's really tough odds. But yeah, just having a general baseline understanding of tactics, you look at this and you think, man, the high ground. And it's the same thing that happened to President Trump. The first thing I would secure looking at a place like that would be every single piece of high ground, because that's where people have the best vantage points. That's where it presents the most risk to anyone in the low ground. And it's really, really difficult to defend against unless you take that terrain and you hold it. That's the first thing that pops in my mind. That's certainly what they exploited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe they don't have like plexiglass or anything in front of Charlie ever, right?
I've never seen plexiglass.
Just kind of wide
I know
open.
too, there's obviously the aspect of the campus police department.
Yeah.
I know they spoke too. So you got all those dorm rooms and classrooms, like all that's open compared to the Butler shooting. Like obviously, like Brad, you'd be able to give a great take on that. Like those buildings are shut down.
That's a great point.
This is an open campus.
That's a great point.
Everybody's walking around. If you want to stop by, listen to Charlie for 5 minutes, then go to class or get something to eat. It's wide open. And all those buildings there, compared to big politicians like Trump, those buildings are going to get shut down.
Yeah,
it's not the same situation.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And again, like Brad was saying, I want to reiterate, like I'm not trying to put blame on anyone on this. I just wanted to get someone with some expertise on, like, how do you approach something like this. And I mean, like, Brad, you see that video I played, like, what are your thoughts when you see that? And you see someone run around the roof where it's like, man, how did they get that? To me, I see that and I'm like, how did they get that clear of a shot? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you have to remember too, someone like you or me sees something like that, immediately we're probably screaming and yelling, right?
Sure.
And get him down. That's a threat. I would imagine a normal person who doesn't necessarily know what to look for or even think through, they might assume, that looks like a security guard, or maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just a looky-loo with binoculars. I don't know, man. Like, look how many people. I mean, you talked a minute ago about the Charlotte stabbing. Look how many people just stood by and did nothing.
Yep.
They're paralyzed with fear or uncertainty.
Well, you got a Daniel Penny situation too. You probably got guys that are like, I just don't even want to insert myself in that situation.
Nope. I mean, they'd rather pull out their cell phone and video than actually intercede and help stop and help fix and help the problem that they're identifying. That's a cultural problem for sure, one way or another. So who knows? But yeah, I mean, if I was there and I saw that, I would be immediately dialed up and what can we do to fix this right now? Whether it's calling 911, screaming at the top of your lungs, running toward Charlie, realizing the threat that he's in with that guy, with that angle and that high ground position, you may have seconds. And the thing that's important too is even if you can't stop him in time to take the shot, if you can inject uncertainty into that man and fear into whoever that trigger man is, you're going to change the variables. And he's no longer going to be as calm or collected. He's going to be more nervous. He's going to recognize that there's a response. You're getting more cameras on him. You're increasing the chance he's going to get caught. And all those things change his ability to shoot effectively. Yeah. So if anyone sees anything like that looks suspicious, the best thing they can do is start making noise, draw attention to it, create fear in the trigger man, and ideally that would increase the chances that he's going to mess something up, that he's going to make a mistake, that he's going to miss. Anything you can do, you can do is better than nothing. It's better than pulling out your phone and just watching.
Yeah, that's I appreciate that. I mean, that's one thing I was going to address talking about the Charlotte stabbing. And one of our favorite verses around here we use for an abortion now is Proverbs 24:10-12. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. If you say, behold, we did not know this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who keeps watch over your soul know it? And will he not repay man according to his work? And you're absolutely right. I mean, like, I was going to talk about the stabbing of people that just sat there and did nothing. Like, it's just so many people in our culture, especially men, they're cowards, right? And like you said, they'd rather have it on video and like get views on TikTok than like actually put their lives at risk to help those stumbling to the slaughter. And
we're insanely distracted too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we think about that all the time. We get on public transportation or like even in the car and we're looking at our phone. And I mean, that situation, you got the guy that gets up, walks away right away. He knows that something happened.
Yeah.
Coward, walks away. That woman that's directly across the aisle doesn't do anything. I think she eventually just gets up and she's down for a minute and 30 seconds bleeding out. And it's just, it's a masculinity problem. It's a culture problem. You don't need to be like Brad. Like, we don't need to be like ex-military guys. Like, there's something we can, like anybody can do. And it's men that should be leading the charge. Yeah. It's insane.
Exactly. They're fainting the day of adversity. So just real quick, I tactically speaking, Brad, I mean, obviously this guy, whoever the shooter is, still at large. They're saying they got pictures. I've seen that. I've been kind of trying to follow that, and hopefully they capture him soon and he gets what he deserves. But it looks like they have the weapon. It looks like it was a Mauser 308 bolt action, assuming that is the correct gun, which they're saying it is. So just, I mean, I think they were saying it was like a 200-yard shot. A 200-yard shot with that rifle is pretty easy, right? That shouldn't be like that difficult of a shot.
That's a pretty large caliber hunting rifle. And if you've dialed that in, especially in an area like that with a quad where there's going to be not a lot of wind cutting through there, it's a manageable shot. Yeah. And it's a high caliber. That's gonna it did its damage.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah. So like, I mean, we keep praying that they find this guy, and I'm seeing all kinds. Just like with Trump, they're like, oh, here's the guy, and that's definitely the guy, and then like 10 minutes later, like, oh, maybe that's not the guy. I think they arrested like 2 or 3 people yesterday, and then they're like, oh, just kidding. Even Cash, and Brad said that because Brad knows Cash really well. Even Cash announced like, we got him, and then it was like, oh, wrong guy. But right now they have a picture, right? There's like of him in the stairwell, like you're going off of that, and So I don't want to get in all the speculative stuff because we could go in a million different directions. But
this it comes down to like we just want justice.
Yeah,
like we didn't get justice with Butler. We're hopefully
that's a great point.
Like hopefully we're going to see justice with North Carolina, and that's where you guys preach on this often. The biblical standard is the standard we should have in situations like this, life for life.
Yeah.
And the death penalty. And I'm glad that the governor came out from Utah. Like, I'm glad that we're a death penalty state.
Yeah.
And that's 100% people should be held accountable for that. I'm along the lines, I'm sure all of us here is like public execution. Like, it should put the fear of God in people.
Yeah.
You make decisions like this, you will get executed for it.
Yeah.
And that is the most just standard we can have here. And that's all we're looking for is justice and being held to account for this murder.
Yeah, and I'm all in favor of going back to public executions. I mean, like you said, like that's like no one's afraid of it now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny. Not funny, but like I've had my one of my favorite movies is Rooster Cogburn, but the two different versions, True Grit, and so I like had my kids watch both of them. I had them watch the John Wayne one first, and then the newer one, and but in both of them, and I had forgotten this, like they're having, like the movie starts and they're having a public hanging, right? And it was so crazy because they're getting ready to hang these dudes, and they're like singing hymns and the gospel's being preached right before, and I'm like, and my kids are like, what is going on? You know, and I'm like, that's how it used to be, and that's how it should be. Like, guess what? Now's the time to repent, everybody. This is what happens when you kill somebody and you have a chance to get right with the Lord before we take your life. Like, that's how I feel like it should be. But
yeah, we shouldn't be funding these people's meals and housing for the rest of their life.
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
Sex changes and all the other stuff. Any thoughts on that, Brad?
I 100% agree. Ideally, everyone in society adheres to our standards and our values out of a sense of principle, out of a sense of a sacrifice and a collective good. But the reality, as you and I know, is we live in a fallen world where people won't. And so in lieu of that, you have to have social deterrence for this kind of behavior. It cannot be tolerated. And I'm an avid fan of innocent until proven guilty. But if proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt for taking the life of another person in cold blood, 100%, I think the death penalty is a necessary and needed and biblically sound practice for governments to use, and it's an effective deterrent and needs to be used.
Yep, that's exactly, and that would be God's prescribed penalty for that, for intentionally taking of another life. So we'll transition here into this is actually a perfect transition point because I want to get into where do we go from here. And so Gabe, if you want to play the Amtac ad, which is a great ad to talk about with this conversation, and then we'll come back on the other side and wrap the show up. This video is brought to you by Amtac Blades. We are very excited to be partnering with Amtac. Bill Rapier, longtime Navy SEAL, DEVGRU operator, amazing brother and friend. Looking for a battle axe to carry on your person, to chop some wood? They've got you covered. Looking for a blade to carry on you every day? Also got you covered. Look at this. I got to check my mail. What do we got going on here? Oh, look how sharp that is. What is this? Oh, 5% off. You can go to amtacblades.com, put Apologia in the coupon code, get 5% off your order, and he will match that and give 5% to End Abortion Now. Again, amtacblades.com. We're grateful for them. Check them out. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Welcome back. So just again to transition this last segment here, I've just watched a lot of stuff today. I'm seeing all kinds of people saying stuff like, this dude better hope the cops find him first, which I understand the sentiment there. And so, I want to get into like, how do we proceed? Where do we go from here? And one, I want to say, and I'm going to play some videos of people just saying some just straight evil things. But to back up a little bit, I was saying a year ago, right before the election, I know a lot of people were like panicking, like, what if Kamala wins? And I'm like, there's no way that crazy lady's going to win. But I'm like, my thoughts were, and I'm not trying to like sound like a prophet or anything, I'm not, but my thoughts were like, I think Trump's going to win. There's no way he doesn't win. But my fear is that they're going to do everything they can to start a war. Because, you know, I've talked about this in the past. It's Christ or chaos, right? And so, like, from the liberal perspective, the only way they can win is if they just completely destroy everything and can rebuild. Because there's too many Christian vestiges. Our laws are rooted in God's law. Like, there's no way they can overcome that unless they just destroy everything and rebuild it in their own way. And so, you know, I've stolen this from Pastor Doug Wilson, but it's like, don't take the bait, right? We cannot take the bait on this because everyone's amped right now, right? I've seen all these people that want to just fight now. They're mad, and they should be. We should be angry, right? But that's why I read the verses at the beginning that I did, because we should be angry. We have a righteous reason to be angry, but we should not repay evil with evil. And like, we need to have our heads on a swivel, right? We need to make sure we're protecting our families and stuff like that. But don't take the bait. Don't use this as an opportunity to just go nuts and engage in stupid battles and wars. And, you know, and I will say there's a segment of young dudes, and this is what I appreciated about Charlie, because he's in this age bracket, right? Like 25 to 35, young conservative dudes who are like going extreme conservative, where they're saying some crazy stuff and they just want to go to war. Like, that's what they're looking for. And I appreciate that Charlie's in the age group, and he's actually being reasonable and using his brain and arguing from scripture, you know. So like, I saw today, even on X, some of those guys were just like, let's go to war, sort of a thing. It's like, nope.
It's a bunch of fake tough guys. It
is.
Everybody's just a bunch of fake tough guys online. You love just being that keyboard warrior, and you think you're a crusader.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm never going to pretend like I'm some tough guy. I got a pompadour and I'm sitting here, all right? But I would really hope that I would really hope that I could protect my family when it's called for. But a lot of people want to talk big online and come across as some stud.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you they go through a few of the drills that Brad's gone through. You try to go through that for an hour or so. I guarantee you're no longer a tough guy.
Brad, what's our biggest enemy? It's a 3-letter word.
Sin?
Well, yeah.
Oh, ego. Oh, yeah.
Come on, I set you up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, ego. But you're right, it is sin. Yeah, you're right. You gave the Jesus juke answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, ego for sure. And like you said, these fake alphas out there, and I get it. There's an emotional response. Luke, you sent me a video of some guys at college who this young dude comes rolling through on a scooter, yelling obscenities about Charlie, and they beat him up. And you know, admittedly, when I watched it, my first instinct was to smile, right? And then I was convicted. We should never repay violence for violence. We should not use this horrific murder as an excuse to get violent ourselves. Everything Charlie stood for, right? The thing he wanted to be known for most was courage for his faith.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus would not want us to act violently and to escalate things into some sort of civil war versus civil discourse. And Charlie wouldn't want that either. So to use his name to justify violence upon other people because they use hurtful and hateful words is hijacking his entire movement. It's hijacking everything he stood for to justify more evil.
Yeah.
We gotta follow his example.
Yeah. I saw the video. I sent to Brad this morning. Did you see that? They were like, a bunch of people were holding a vigil. It was at the Idaho State Capitol. They're holding a vigil for Charlie praying.
Oh, yeah.
And this idiot rides to his scooter saying, F Kirk or whatever, and they just jumped him and like beat the tar out of him. And you're right, your first sinful human instinct to be like, well, I got what you deserve, but that's not how we should be reacting, you know, like, because that's what they want. Again, don't take the bait. That's what they want. They want to incite,
especially in the social media age. The way that's going to get shared, it's there's a riot, there's unrest over at this Charlie Kirk vigil, and I mean, obviously we don't need to get into like January 6th stuff. There's so much nonsense that happened there, but in general, like there's people that have like bloodlust, and there's a lot of people that think they're, like Brad said, fake alphas, and you're trying to be judge, jury, and executioner, and it doesn't work. It really doesn't, and especially in this age, like that's going to get exploited, and it's going to tarnish Charlie's name, and we're not really going to be able to make the difference that Charlie wanted us to make.
Exactly. Well, here I'm going to play a couple clips. This first one. This one was just. This was yesterday right after Charlie got shot. You guys have probably seen this, the MSNBC one, and like, it's like just the height of liberal stupidity. Thankfully, this guy's been fired by MSNBC, but I'm going to play this real quick just to show like, and this is like probably the most like conservative of the stupid videos that I've seen in the last 2 days. Sorry, where's the volume? Is that me again?
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about.
In which a shooting like this.
What? Like, you've been to a lot of these rallies. Have you ever seen anybody like they act like this is like a?
It's not a 21 gun salute. For
yeah,
Charlie
like what in the
up.
world?
It's, and then he obviously goes on to say that basically all his hate speech led to him deserving this. Like, awful language leads to like awful violence or awful actions, and it's just people are exposing who they are. If people are saying who they are, you got to believe them. Yeah. And we now in a social media age, and there's a beauty to social media, and there's an awful part of social media where people are easily exposed. We know who you are. We know that your father is Satan, but at the same time, it's like we are getting inundated with so much evil and people that are celebrating this. Like I can't stand Biden, Harris, Obama. I would never, ever wish something like this on ever. It would be an awful day for our country. And that's where people need to start realizing and actually step up and say, this is coming from the left side of the political aisle. These are the people celebrating this stuff. You don't see this on the right. You might have a small section of those crazy people that say online, but I guarantee you if the roles were reversed, you aren't even going to see a fraction of a percent of people celebrating the death of somebody on the left side of the political aisle. It wouldn't happen. That's not the way that we engage, especially in Charlie's memory. It's civil discourse. He's having this freedom of speech. You talk about the Constitution was under attack. That's what we do. Yeah. We want to talk about it. Yeah. And it's just, it's sad. It's really, really sad to see the depravity.
Yeah. And like I said, there's all kinds of videos of people celebrating Charlie's death, which is just crazy to me. And I'm not even going to play most of those because they're just disgusting. They don't deserve views.
But people are getting fired. I got to bring that up too. Like that's where I think like MSNBC. There's someone that worked in PR for the Carolina Panthers football team. Someone just got fired out here in Phoenix. They were working for a local sports media like station area, and like they're saying awful things, and then these places are stepping up and saying, not only do we condemn what they're saying, but they're no longer a part of our company. It's got to happen. Because
I was going to say, if like you said, if the roles were reversed and any conservative did anything like that, they'd immediately be fired. Their family would be fired. Like they'd be shipped off to Mexico, or like they're like. So, anyways, I'm going to play just a couple of these real quick, just to give a couple examples. So this was, I don't know if you guys saw this. This was right after Charlie got shot. You see this?
Yeah.
Like literally, you'll see it. Like the people are all ducking down still. So here, Gabe, I have this up if you want to play this real quick. I don't even remember if there's audio or not. I mean, first of all, TikTok is absolute dumpster fire, but I mean, you can see the guys carrying off Charlie's body, and this guy gets up and starts cheering. Like, now, one, how someone did take that guy out in that moment is beyond me, because I probably would have tackled him at a minimum. But like, it's like, what is going on that this is allowed to happen, and people are acting that way? And again, in the video, like someone's like, find this guy, and they're going to find him, I'm sure, if they haven't already, but, again, no, we're not doing mob justice here. I wore the shirt today on purpose. Fear God, not the mob. Like, we're not doing mob justice here. If you find the guy, let's make sure he gets his rewards the appropriate way. But like, let's not find him and beat him up and stuff. But when I saw that, I was just like who does that? It's just pure evil.
If we are going to do everything we possibly can to find some Polish guy that took a hat from a kid at the U.S. Open, or try to find Philly's Karen and get her fired,
Yes.
like, I don't know why people aren't spending every ounce of their being to try to find this guy and hold him accountable. But that goes to show this guy is thinking about that. He desires that to, like, his very core. He wants to see Charlie die, and it's just evil. It's the epitome of evil when you see a video like that. He wants that. There's people out there that legitimately wanted Charlie dead, and again, while his body is being dragged away by security, this guy, his first thought is mission accomplished. Yeah. It's just that kind of evil we are facing right now, and people need to realize that there's people that we're incompatible with at this point in America.
Yeah, and I mean, it just shows you, Christ talks about murder being in the heart, right? This guy has a murderous heart, and I mean, honestly, that's what the left wants. They want to murder their children. They have a bloodlust, right? That's what all the movies, everything in our culture is all about, bloodlust. And I think I borrowed this from Toby Sumter, I think is where I got it from. But the left, right, sinners, unbelievers, they know that a blood atonement is necessary, right? The problem is they're rejecting Christ's blood atonement, and so they're looking for blood atonement somewhere else. But you probably couldn't see that, could you? Or did you see that video?
No, I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, like, if you're like, if someone like you is standing right there, like that guy, that's not happening.
It's so bad, and it makes me miss. I can't help but think of when Reagan got shot. And the story goes that as he's getting ready for surgery, lead surgeon comes in to talk to him. He's about to go under, and he says something like, "Well, I sure hope you're a Republican," as he's talking to the surgeon. And the surgeon's reply was, "Today we're all Republicans, Mr. President." And it was this moment of incredible solidarity that none of us, no matter what our political beliefs, should want this kind of violence. It's so discouraging to know that was less than a lifetime ago, and yet here we are today, we're celebrating the murder of an innocent man who believed in civil discourse. I hope that the left uses this opportunity to reset the conversation. And what an opportunity to be like, hang on, everyone stop. If we've been going down an ideological line of thought that has actually caused people to celebrate this type of thing, then we're way off. Let's reset. Let's reevaluate. Let's get introspective and calm the conversation and start talking about how we should all, on days like this, have an agreement that this is unacceptable behavior for the United States of America.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens. I'm not naive. I'm a realistic optimist these days, and I think it won't happen. But what an opportunity for some of those leaders on the left to stand up and actually start crossing that divide between the parties and start repairing instead of encouraging more of this behavior.
Yeah. I mean, I think of like when, obviously none of us are alive when JFK got assassinated, but from what I understand, I've been told that was this thing that kind of brought the nation together. Like you're talking about, like, because everyone was just so horrified over that, like. But that's not what's happening. You got all the liberals, not all the liberals, but you got crazy liberals just celebrating this. And it's not just like a bunch of schmuck liberals either. Like I saw was Kamala's biggest donor went and made a video like celebrating. It's like, oh my goodness, like how are you allowed to like function in society with such evil in your hearts?
Didn't this side also just say that like thoughts and prayers don't do jack squat? And then what did they do? It's just thoughts and prayers. And who are you praying to?
Right.
That's what I think of is like when you watch the news and it's like Nancy Pelosi. Who are you praying to? It's not our God.
Right, exactly right.
Like you don't actually care, and then you see people that are like, you hope people on the left, like Brad saying, are going to step up and say, you can't call us Nazis. You can't say that we're a threat to democracy, the KKK, and then be surprised when someone on your side tries taking out someone that is just having civil discourse. He's talking to people like you, that vote like you, and having a discussion. And you're not just censoring speech. You want to censor people for life and their life.
Yeah.
And that's where they need to actually step up. And I think it's also an awesome opportunity for Trump. He needs to be strong here, and there needs to be justice, and there needs to be accountability. But what a beautiful time to become a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And I know he's not surrounded with people that have solid biblical discernment. Obviously, it breaks our heart that we have false teachers and charlatans like Paula White there at the Faith Office. But you hope that there's somebody there that's going to provide some solid spiritual guidance so we can figure out a way to have true justice and then come together as a nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dude, that's such a great point. Here, I'm going to play one more video just of some idiots. And this will be the last one I play, but this, again, kind of gives you a taste of what we're talking about here. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not.
Do you support his death?
I do.
You support his death?
Fuck Charlie Kirk.
You support Charlie Kirk being killed?
Yes, I do.
On the day he died, you're here at a vigil for Charlie Kirk, and you support his death.
Do you support a Nazi?
No, I don't support a Nazi. Charlie Kirk wasn't a Nazi.
Yes,
You support his shooter?
Yep, sure do. It's freedom.
You support Charlie Kirk's shooter?
Sure do. He does all a favor.
Would you shoot somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
You would have killed him yourself? Okay. Do you have a job here in Seattle?
Nope. I take that for a look.
Do you support his death?
They're not even alphas.
You support his death?
These are some soy boys, but I mean, you see stuff like that, and I tell you, I heard something today that really challenged me. Just trying to listen through all this stuff, and I don't even remember who it was I was listening to, but they were like, "The problem here is we've been too tolerant." Right? We've tolerated far too long this kind of nonsense in the liberal agenda, and that's a whole nother conversation we can get into another day. It starts obviously with how we vote, but then it also involves us keeping our legislators accountable, because we've just become so soft to just kind of get along to go along, or go along to get along, instead of saying no, like you said, no, we're not Nazis. Quit saying that. We shouldn't be tolerating that kind of nonsense. Like you said that there. He's like, "You're a Nazi." He's like, dude, just shut up.
Well, and then we go back to the school shooting, Annunciation. Yeah. You're telling trans people or trans allies that they are under attack by the Christian community and conservatives, and that there's a threat to your life legitimately. That when someone like some of the guys over at Daily Wire, I don't know why I'm going blank, the Catholic guy's name. Why am I going? Michael Knowles. Knowles. Yeah. He's talking about eradicating transgenderism. He's not saying eradicate transgenders.
Right.
He said this ideology, we are castrating minors against their will. It's irreversible when it comes mentally, obviously, other than a miracle by God to change their heart and change their mind, change their soul. But it leads to this. You're telling them they're under attack, and then they need to be judge, jury, and executioner themselves. And they think they're actually doing something important and just and righteous. And again, you can't be surprised when you push this rhetoric. These aren't just words anymore. We can't just be like, sticks and stones will break my bones and words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
Words literally lead to the death of Charlie Kirk. They lead to kids dying in schools in Nashville and Annunciation and other places. And it's time for the rubber to meet the road, where the left really needs to come up, and we have people like Obama. I don't care how many supporters he's had. People need to say, you can't say we're not sure what the motivation is here.
Yeah.
His supporters don't just shoot off out of nowhere and then happen to hit him. Like this, we know that this is the political assassination.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not just that, but I've seen a lot of Christians calling Charlie a martyr, and I think that's a valid thing to say. We'll see what the guy's intentions were for murdering him, but he's certainly, we talked about that, he was standing firm for his faith. And Brad, we'll end on your thoughts here in a second. I just want to say, I'm not even going to give this guy credit for mentioning his name, but this is why the left calls us Nazis. This dude says, "I think it's time for you guys to talk about Talmudic Judaism before more things like this happen." Come on. This is the extreme right I'm talking about. You guys stop.
It's the woke right.
It is the woke right. It's like, just stop. You don't want them calling us Nazis. They don't say something stupid like that. This has nothing to do with that. Okay, Brad, let's end on your thoughts, brother, and then we are going to do an after show, by the way. So, but we'll end this show here.
I think, as you guys are talking, I was thinking about how so many progressives have hijacked our language, and in so many ways where they've made this kind of thing a natural response. When they say that words are violence against me, when they say things like your words make me feel unsafe, all of that was incrementally getting us to a place where someone could justifiably think that murdering Charlie because of his words was an equal and proportionate reaction to how he felt by Charlie's words. That's wrong. That's messed up. And back to Luke, what you were saying, we should not tolerate that kind of language anymore.
Yeah.
No, words are not violence. And no, they don't justify violence as a response. Words are necessary. Civil discourse is necessary. If my words offend you, that should not make you feel unsafe. And you should not justify a physical reaction as a result of that. Use words back. Words and words. The only time violence should be justified is in self-defense when our lives are threatened or those that we love. So we've got to re-baseline the language. We've got to take it back. We've got to stop allowing people to hijack it and draw these inappropriate equations of causality where they just should never exist. Words matter. We got to take it back. And I think we're starting to, which is good.
Yeah.
We're seeing that, but we got to do more of it. We got to do more of it.
Amen, brother. Well, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, this is what we're talking about in the after show, just to tease you guys a little bit. I'm going to have Brad get into talking about sheathing the sword because my man's got some good stuff to say about that. But hey, real quick, I want to thank Go with Jordan. Hey, says y'all are a blessing. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. That encourages us. And BScard24, thank you for that super chat. He said one thing that is beautiful about Charlie is that if you were a fan of his, you were without a doubt a better Christian because of it. The man died proclaiming his faith and didn't shy from evil. Absolutely. And I will say what's been really cool, despite all the stupidity that's going around, it's been really cool to see all the people coming out saying how, like, I was transgender till I listened to Charlie, or Charlie, I said this and this and I came to Christ, whatever. Like, just the outpouring of that has been really cool to see.
I've seen a lot of people actually post on X about wanting to go to church.
Yeah.
And that is a pretty amazing thing to see people saying, like, what, I always kind of doubted it. I liked Charlie, heard him preach about this, but I want to go to church. I'm thinking about marriage. I'm thinking about kids. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful legacy.
Amen. And that's
what Martin Luther King did for the civil rights movement. Charlie did for unborn rights, and his value, his worth to this world. What an immense blessing that the Lord gave him to us for this season.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll that's a perfect place to end this. I prayed before we started. Like, my hope when something like this happens is that not that we start a war, but that there's a revival, right? Because that's what our nation needs, and that should be our hope and prayer, is that the gospel goes forth and people turn to Christ in droves. So,
and prayers for Erica and the kids again too.
Absolutely.
That's just, it's heartbreaking to think about that.
Yes, absolutely. And let me just mention real quick, again, the Future of Christendom conference is coming up very, very, very quickly. That's in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Again, Pastor Jeff will be the main speaker there. The dates on that are October 9th through the 11th. So we're a month away right now. So if you go to futureofchristendom.org, you can put Apologia in the coupon code and get 10% off registration. And then, of course, go to check out our swag, coffee, our tracks, all that at shop.apologiastudios.com. So like I said, we'll be back here in a few minutes on the after show. John, thanks for coming, brother. And where can people find you and check out what you're up to?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, X, spending a lot more time on YouTube now too, actually just trying to have a lot more long form content, explain my short form thoughts more. So follow me there. It's at @JohnnyRoot_.
That's a creative way to do it. I love your tweets, by the way. I always get excited when it comes across my feed. Brad, you got, man, there's stuff you probably can't even announce right now, but you got a lot of big changes coming up. What can people do right now just to check out whatever you're up to that you can talk about?
Yeah, decisions are forthcoming. Yeah. We just finished off our summer of Sabbath that the Lord kind of thrust upon us, and decisions are forthcoming. We're talking to a few different people. We're about to sign some things. So I'm hesitant to jump the gun there.
Yeah.
But we're excited about the future. We're looking forward. And man, I want to just keep riding this wave wherever the Lord takes us.
And I will say I'm very excited about those potential opportunities. And Brad knows because I've been texting him like every week. And he knows. So anyways, we'll hopefully have some news soon on that front. But thank you again, everyone, for your support. You help keep the lights on. Thank you to everyone that supports End Abortion Now. I will say this. I never met Charlie personally. I was at a pastor's conference at Turning Point. I mean, they're like 20 minutes away from here. So I've been in the offices. We've been doing a lot of stuff with Turning Point Faith when it comes to the legislative stuff here in Arizona and across the nation. They've been fantastic partners. That's why I have a lot of friends within the organization, and super grateful for just their partnership and trying to save babies. So that's all I got. But again, all accessors, you can stick around here in a few minutes. We'll have an after show, and we'll be back next week. Just continue to pray for Erica and those kids, and that God will be glorified. Peace out, everybody.